there's another way to live life besides going to college, graduating college, getting a job, sacrificing years of your life, working just so that one day, maybe when you turn 60 or 65, you have enough money to finally stop working. Only then to realize that, one, the activities that you used to like, you don't like anymore. You don't have the energy or the health in order to actually accomplish those things or even want to go and do those things. There's another way. And from training youth clients, clients of different ages, especially my youth clients, I have people ask me or tell me that, they don't know what they want to go to college for. They don't know what they want to do in life. I'm sure you remember, if you have already been in college or already been in high school, asking yourself like, oh man, I'm supposed to make this huge decision and figure out what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life. I mean, it's kind of silly how we expect our youth to just know that when we've been kind of coddling them and treating them like they were babies. And then it's like, all right, go free. There's no preparation. But a lot of them ask me questions and they're like, they see me running my own business, social media, content creation, athlete. And a lot of them are interested to learn, like, how did you do this? So I would share with them my path, which I shared in previous episode. But I would also suggest to them to think differently, maybe think differently from what their parents would advise or have provided for them as a path. I want to provide an alternate path. So I said, hey, there are some people, I know entrepreneurs, I know content creators that use geographical arbitrage. So what is geographical arbitrage? That is the earn in US dollars but spend in pesos. That is work remotely, work online, get a job, virtual assistant, content creation, anything that you can do just with Wi-Fi. And then you can sell your services or you can work and earn in US dollars, which is a stronger currency. And then you live in a place like Colombia or parts of Mexico or, Chile. There are so many different places. I mean, Thailand, if you want to go really far, Bali, Thailand, places where the US dollar goes way further. And that way, maybe, let's say here in New York where I am, maybe you need $2.5 million in today's dollars. That's not counting inflation. In today's dollars, in order to retire comfortably. But in a place like Colombia, you might be set with $600,000, and that's a lot easier of a goal to reach rather than 2.5 million, right? $600,000 is very achievable. So I want to give an example. When I traveled and visited my best friend, he was staying in Colombia. He's a digital nomad and he works remotely. I go and visit him. I literally, it was a quick weekend trip. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday trip. So I didn't have to take off of work. I finished my clients early on Friday, get to the airport. I fly with credit card points, so I didn't pay any cash for that. And then I get there, and we go out for filet mignon. He takes us to this restaurant. It was me, my best friend, and his girlfriend. And we all got the same thing. We got 3 filet mignons, one for each of us. It came with it came with risotto with a balsamic vinaigrette reduction. And 3, craft cocktails, mixed cocktails. And it came out to 24 US dollars. Not each, 24 total. That was $8 each. And we're not talking like a crappy filet mignon. We're talking really, really good food here. So that same meal, that same bill in America, in New York, I mean, we're talking at least $100, but probably $150, $175. Easy. I would say $150, $175. So it just goes to show like how much cheaper it is. And there's so many benefits to, being able to be more mobile and live wherever. I feel like our parents' generation, Gen X, the boomers, they had America during a different time, and it was a lot easier. And the percentage of your income that goes to housing and rent and all these bills was a lot different. So people didn't feel like they were absolutely being strangled by just financial turmoil. So they have a different picture. They're like, oh, well, it wasn't that hard when I was young. They don't understand. So we kind of have to think a little bit differently. And this is going to be very untraditional when you might approach your parents, might approach your friends' parents, or anybody with this type of concept of, oh, I want to move overseas. And of course, obviously, there are negatives as well. You're not close to your family, and that you get homesick and whatnot. But for people that are coming out of college, or maybe a couple years out of college, and maybe you don't have any ties here, maybe you're okay with traveling away from your family, maybe you don't have a girlfriend or a wife or a partner, and you're free to explore. If you get a job with as a virtual assistant, or an appointment setter, or anything that you could work remotely, digital, like tech sales, anything, content creation. And you can now take your laptop, go anywhere in the world with Wi-Fi, which is basically everywhere in the developed world. Maybe not quality Wi-Fi, but you can go, and now you can earn in US dollars and spend in pesos, or whatever the local currency of the place that you are. But you're arbitraging. You're taking the spread of the difference between the US dollar and that local currency. And that's just one of the hacks. So you can start to put together a lot of these hacks, and you can be living well. And if you do that in your 20s, I'm 29, I'm about to turn 30 in a month. Wow, time's flying. In a month. If you do that in your 20s, you can always come back. I'm not saying that you have to expatriate and leave and stop. You'll still pay taxes here as long as you keep your US citizenship. So you'll still pay US taxes. Oh, well, that's okay. With how much money you're saving, you're going to put yourself ahead by age 29, age 30. You're going to be so far ahead of everybody else that you might just be able to retire then, honestly. So this is something, I didn't do this because I've lived here my whole life, but I've always traveled. But I started an in-person business, and that just so happened to be my life path. If I was to do it over, I would just do all online coaching and a whole bunch of the different things that I do online already. Take that and then go. And I probably would have been able to save the same amount, if not more. Do I regret it? I look back, I'm like, man, I should have done that, but it is what it is. I'm living comfortably. I'm fine. But that along with the credit card points, so now you're flying for free. You are arbitraging the difference. You're investing so much more than what you normally would. You're paying, $500 a month, $600 a month in rent compared to the $2,200, $2,300 that I'm paying here. You can get a roommate and you can bring that down to $300 a month. There's so many things that you could do. Grab a friend and say, hey, offer him or her this suggestion of this life path. Hey, you want to do this? This could be fun. It could be you and your best friend, fresh out of college. Let's go and rent a 2-bedroom in Medellin, Colombia. And let's both get online-only jobs, work remotely, start your side hustle, create content, learn entrepreneurship, post your content if you're an athlete. And now, out of nowhere, you are living this life that is people's dreams life. So the dollar figure might not be as much. Sure, you might not be making $100,000 a year. Maybe you will. Maybe you can definitely do that and you can make more. But let's say back home, you can just stay in New York or wherever you are in America and make $80,000 a year at a job right there. Or you can make $60,000, but all online and work remotely. If you're paying $80,000 in New York or any major city in America, you'll be able to still invest a decent amount per month. But if you were to make $60,000 and live full time in Colombia or any of these places that I'm mentioning, you'll be able to invest way more. So you're living in a more beautiful location. if you're into those type of people, like men, women, or whatever, like if you like Colombian women, then that's a plus as well. The vibes are immaculate. People are amazing. You get treated like royalty there, and the food is amazing. What's not to love? You're exploring, and now you're living an interesting life. You come back with stories, and you have something to share with people, which is going to help you network and connect with people. You're creating content, which is already, we talked about the infinite lottery tickets concept behind what social media is. So now out of nowhere, you just, by taking a pay cut and working online, you gave yourself freedom. So you lost $20,000 if it was like that 80,000 compared to 60,000. You are losing $20,000 a year, but you're actually investing more. You're gaining experiences, you're learning skills, you're creating content, and you're networking with interesting people in these digital nomad hubs across the world, like Medellin, Colombia, or Marbella, or Bali, or Tulum, like wherever. So there's another way. I'm going to always, that's the common trend of this podcast, I guess. There's another way. So many people just fall into life and allow themselves to think that what they see everybody else do is the only way. But by definition, if you want an extraordinary life, you have to do extraordinary things. Extraordinary, that means outside of the ordinary. You can't do what the ordinary person is going to do and expect extraordinary results. You have to do something extraordinary. That's literally what the word is. So think differently. There's another way. That's a possible life path. You have your side hustle. You're working online tech sales. You got an online tech sales job, and maybe it's commission. It's half salary, half commission. You're making 60K base and then commission. So if you do your job really well, there's infinite upside. So you have that. You have a side hustle. You're creating content, and maybe you're doing online coaching with your physique. You're doing some modeling, and you are now able to take all of those sources of income, and you're splitting rent with your buddy that you and him are both in tech sales, have remote jobs, and now you guys are chilling in Medellin, Colombia, in a beautiful location, filming content with each other, and saving a ton of money. And by saving, I mean investing a ton of money into assets like the S&P 500, like Bitcoin, like real estate, and you do that out of college until age, maybe you want to settle down at 30, 32. You come back at 30, 32, and you're going to be so far ahead of the game that you basically feel like you're retired. There's this thing called Coast Fire. I don't know if you guys have heard of the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, FIRE. And Coast Fire is basically like you reach a certain amount of net worth and invested assets to where if you don't invest another dollar, you'll still have a full retirement by the time you're 59 and a half, 60. So for example, if I save up $100,000, or let's say $200,000 or $150,000 by the age of 29, then I don't ever have to worry about investing ever again, because that will compound at 6-7% when you take into account inflation. In the S&P 500, Bitcoin will be more, real estate, depending on how you do it. And if you do Airbnb, that could be more as well. But compounded, that is going to completely get you your nest egg of your 1, 2, 2.5 million, whatever you need, whatever your numbers are. And you could plug in your numbers to see what you need with a compound interest calculator and with a maybe like a FIRE calculator or whatnot. So just something to think about. It's not a permanent thing. You can always come back to America. It's not like you have to leave forever. You're still a citizen, but you are just arbitraging the difference in currencies, and you're able to save more, have more experiences, network more with interesting people that are going to expand your knowledge, expand your connections. You might find like your type of people amongst them. It's not the typical life. Your parents might not understand, probably won't, but you have to take control over your life. And no one else is going to do anything for you in this world. You need to go and grab it. And that's what the +1 mentality is about. +1 sups, like everything that I do is centered around the +1 mentality, and that is just always leveling up. How can I improve? How can I add one more rep? How can I make my life and my dream life come true? How could I accomplish my goals? So I think that that is a huge way to get a great bang for your buck. With you make one decision of working remotely and traveling, or working remotely and living in a low cost of area, beautiful country. You're getting more money invested, so you're building your wealth, you're building your network and connections with these interesting digital nomad hubs, and you are gaining experiences and stories to tell, which everybody loves a good story. You could meet a millionaire, a multimillionaire, a billionaire, and they might not care about what anybody has to say, but they'll care about the person with a cool story. So you get that, and you're posting content. Now you're building your side hustle. You're just surrounded by people that are in that same world as well with all these digital nomads. I mean, there's just so many things. That was like 4 or 5 things right there just by making that decision of, instead of getting a normal, quote unquote, normal job, not to, crap on normal jobs or anything like that, but consider getting a remote job, creating content, create a side hustle, travel, gain the experiences, invest. There's another way. So, yeah, quick video. Just wanted to put that on your radar. But I'm always about sharing different data sets that I've learned. And I watch a lot of entrepreneurs, and I've seen my best friend do this for years now. And he's way ahead of your average person at age 29, age 30. So, yep, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys. This is the Christopher Spell Podcast. I'm their host, Christopher Spell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.